Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would sit down and do another video for you guys and gals. Sip my water. My radio voice going, let's talk about this. I was reminded of this again because of some fitness groups I follow. I'm looking and I'm seeing guys in these groups, like these for the older lifters, over 30 and over 40 groups. I see guys who barely look like they lift. For anyone says, you barely look like you lift, I'm talking way smaller than me. I'm talking guys with 30 pounds less muscle than me and a higher body fat. Okay, so visualize that. We're talking about, I've been training 5 days a week. Should I go to 6? I think I'm going to 25 sets of body part. Why? 40-year-old lifters doing this. Why? Does anyone really think adding this much extra volume is doing anything? Okay. I get it if your goal is because you need the gym for therapy. I understand that. But if we are lifting weights for the purpose of gaining muscle and gaining strength, unless your lifestyle is completely perfect, this is ridiculous. Okay? And when I say perfect, I'm talking diet dialed in, only clean foods, protein optimized, micronutrients optimized, macronutrients optimized. You're sleeping 8 to 10 hours a night, every single night without fail. You drink 0 alcohol, 0 recreational drugs, 0 smoking, 0 cannabis. You live a perfect lifestyle with perfect stress management. If you are that person, you can get away with higher volumes and do great. Now, how many of you fit that description? Okay. And when you're doing these sort of higher volumes, you're not getting double the progress. You're trying to get a couple percent. Like you're like, okay, I want to gain this amount of muscle per year is what I would be doing. By adding this, I go from here to here. Okay? A few percentage, maybe 5% more, maybe 10% more is what you're trying to get out of it. At the expense of, though, it's going to beat you up more, going to require more time, more recovery, more injuries, more tendonitis, potentially, all those things. That's the downside with a lot of this. I'm sorry, but I have seen people get amazing results in my life who train hard and train correctly, doing way less volumes than you would expect. I oftentimes use way more volume than I need. I have a history of doing this. So when I make this statement, I do not want to sound like I am some all-knowing guru sitting up on the top of a mountain enlightened. I'm guilty of the same thing. Right? You guys have seen me train 6 days a week before. You've seen me do 25, 30 sets for muscle group. I've done it. Do I make better progress? No. I have seen guys do 5 or 6 sets a week for muscle group and get phenomenal results with phenomenal physiques and phenomenal strength, who work out 3 days a week, mind you. They do exist. Am I saying that's for everyone? No, but I would say that's sustainable. So that's the thing that people come over to me with. They're like, what do most of your clients do? Most of my clients on average do 10 to 12 sets per muscle group a week, usually 4 days a week total. Do I have clients who do 3? Yeah. Oh yeah. All right, let me come back over to that. Do I have clients who train 3 days a week over the age of 40 who can bench 300 plus pounds? Yes. Right now, at this very moment, yes. Some of them know who they are. Michael probably listening there. Be like, that's me, coach. Okay? That's all he has to do. His workouts are about 40 minutes. 3 times a week. He's over 40. He's in great shape. Right? Why do people think that they need all these huge amounts of volume? And again, I understand if you're making this a serious thing, but if you have to ask anyone for advice, and that's kind of the point. If you're on the internet anywhere and you need to ask another person for advice, you sure as hell don't need to be programming 5-6 day a week training. All right? You do not have the knowledge to do this correctly. And I see a lot of influencers who push this, even on the tubes. Do this much training. It's like, really? You really think your average audience member, because I'm looking at your audience, bro. Talking to you, Nippert. I actually like Jeff. He's an all right guy. He's not a bad guy. He was putting out some 6-day-a-week push-pull legs programs. Like, Jeff, look at your average audience. Do you really think they can handle this? Do you really think this is ideal? All right, we're talking about guys who are struggling to squat 225 for reps, okay? These are not exactly big, strong guys who know what they're doing. These are noobs. That's your average audience. Do you really think they need to be doing that? Or they need to be training 3 or 4 days a week, do 10 sets and get out? Let me come back over to, that is a good, solid amount of volume. 10 to 12 hard sets a week per muscle group. For most of you, you're not going to grow beyond that unless all those other factors that I just listed. You start adding a 5th day a week, you start going up to 18, 20 sets for muscle groups. More than one, not just your weak link, but some other muscles. And you don't have that other stuff dialed in. You're just going to end up spinning your wheels. Been my experience as a coach. Or you're training like a pussy. So therefore you're getting away with that volume. You're not training hard. You're not moving big weight for a lot of reps. I can tell you that much. Unless you're on several grams of gear. Let's go back over to that point. People don't need to do this. They don't need these volumes unless their lifestyle is optimized around it. And when I give those standards, what sort of standards have I told you? Look, totally, people get pissed. They get mad at me when they're like, that's not a reasonable standard. I'm like, that is a reasonable standard. For a healthy man to eventually be able to bench 3 plates, squat 4 plates, pull 5 plates, and be able to do 10 bodyweight pull-ups is perfectly reasonable. Let's come back over to what I just described for training. You should be able to get there on 10 to 12 sets a week eventually. If you can't, what in the hell are you doing? That shouldn't be your goal. That should be an eventual side effect. Like, seriously, guys, a 500 pound deadlift and 10 pull-ups? If you don't think that is a perfectly reasonable goal for a healthy man to just inadvertently be able to do just because he trains hard and eats enough food to eventually get there after 5, 10, 12 years, if you don't think that that should be normal, you need to stop coming up with your own fitness advice. You need to stop having an opinion because you don't know what in the fuck you were talking about. Because that should be normal results. That should be average normal results. Let's come back over to what I just said. If you're training hard, you're going to the gym 3-4 days a week, you're doing 10 to 12 sets of muscle group with progressive overload consistently year after year after year. You're not starving yourself back down to 130 pounds. You're at a nice, reasonable, healthy body weight, 170, 180 pounds, whatever, right? That's a normal, totally expected goal with average genetics. So let's come back over to the point. Why do people think they need more than that? I understand if you have extreme goals. You're like, I want to compete in bodybuilding. I want a 700-pound deadlift. Okay. But if your goals include, hey, I just want to be a lean 175 pounds, lean 180 with abs, visible abs, deadlift 500, do 10, 12 pull-ups. Why do you need to lift more than 3 or 4 days a week? Why do your workouts don't need to be 2 hours long? You don't need any of that. It's not necessary. That's my point. And the people I see who post these sort of things up and ask these questions, I'm like, what are you trying to do? You don't even have a base. Why are you trying to train 6 days a week? Like, what do you think you're going to get out of it? Be a dude who deadlifts 350 pounds. You don't even have a base yet, dude. What are you doing? Build a base. To be able to work out 30, 40, 45 minutes, 3 or 4 days a week and get there. Done. Get your programming fixed. Quit goofing off. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.